Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. Ancient Chinese Alien Mummy. Archaeologists working with Inner Mongolian University made an incredible discovery, a mysterious tomb over 1,500 years old. The tomb contained several artifacts as well as a mummy. It looks like the mummy could have been a king, as he was found decorated in valuable gold ornaments. The artifacts have proved curious because they seem to have come from very far away. One of these silver bowls found in the tomb depicted ancient Greek gods, something you really wouldn't expect to find buried in an ancient Mongolian Chinese cemetery. There were other people buried here as well, with at least 6 tombs being found in total. They all date back to the Northern Wei dynasty and appear to have been a family of aristocrats. The mummy may have been the chief of the Goache people, with the rest being members of his family. The Gaochi controlled a massive portion of northern China and Mongolia, maintaining a huge section of the Silk Road. The fact that the tombs were found so close to the Silk Road could explain the Greek artifacts, as they may have made their way there through extensive trading. The body of the mummy found was wrapped in yellow silk and was wearing gold accessories including a headband, necklace, belt, and several finger rings. It was also wearing leather boots. The body, however, has not yet been studied further as the silk has yet to be removed. The coffin the body was in also contained extensive unusual detail. Wooden and covered in paintings, it includes illustrations of a blue-roofed house held up with red pillars, and an image of what must have been the occupant surrounded by many attendants standing or sitting and wearing round hoods. Number 9. A strange worm. Scientists have found a new species of worm that will make your skin crawl. It has a single head but multiple bodies that branch out like the limbs of a tree. Confirmation of the new species was announced by researchers from the University of Göttingen after a Japanese scientist sent images of the worm to the team in Germany. The worm was discovered off the coast of Sado Island, living inside of sea sponges. Researchers determined the worm to be a form of psyllid marine worm, of which only 2 other kinds are known to exist. The new species was named Ramesillus King Ghidorah after the Japanese monster that fights Godzilla, King Ghidorah. The thing that immediately caught the attention of the researchers was the shape of the worms. They really do look like trees, growing from a main trunk and then branching out countless times. Scientists believe their bodies may be a response to their host sponges, which look awfully similar. The body of the worm branches out along the branches of the sponge, allowing the worm to really burrow itself into the host. What are your thoughts on this worm? Let me know in the comments below. Number 8. Roman soldier's face mask. Archaeologists have found an iron face mask once worn by a member of the Roman cavalry roughly 1,800 years ago. It was dug up in Turkey, at the ancient city of Hadrianopolis in Karabukh province. The mask is broken with only its nose, part of its mouth, and a piece of its cheek still remaining. Archaeologists believe it was worn by one of the soldiers stationed at Hadrianopolis during the imperial period of the 3rd century. To understand the mask a bit better, we need to take a look at this ancient city. Not only is Hadrianopolis famous for its preserved mosaics, ancient churches, and for being the birthplace of the Saint Alypios the Stylite, it was also a key defensive position for the Romans at the end of their rule. Inhabited starting in the 1st century BC, Hadrianopolis became a real fortress when the Roman Empire started trying to build a barricade around their territory. Rome was trying to defend itself at the farthest reaches of its empire, meaning modern-day Turkey. They tried to build a series of bases and fortifications that would keep out any invaders from the Black Sea. The city became one of those bases, with a large garrison of Roman soldiers stationed there. At some point, one of the cavalry soldiers either lost or discarded the mask, or maybe left it behind. It was found in a ruin that appeared to be some sort of bunkhouse or military barracks for the soldiers. In any case, the mask is pretty cool. Number 7. Rapidly aging babies. Scientists have discovered something rather unusual. The find came during a very long analysis of extremely low birth weight babies. They were looking at babies born prematurely when they found something they weren't looking for. They discovered that male babies born prematurely age faster than female babies born prematurely and babies that are born on time. What we're talking about is biological aging, scientifically known as senescence. Research has shown that male babies born too early have hundreds of key genes in their bodies that age faster than normal over a long span of time. In total, a male born prematurely will be 4.6 years older in senescence by the time they reach 30 than a boy born at the same time with normal birth weight. And yet this difference was not found in any female babies born prematurely with low birth weight. So what does it all mean? The scientific reason remains unclear. Male babies could be more sensitive to prenatal stress, though scientists can't say why this would make them age more rapidly. It just goes to show how little we know about how our bodies work and how much there is still to be uncovered. Number 6. Incoming Earth invasion. Scientists with NASA discovered a massive source of energy 4,000 light-years from us. They don't know what the source of the energy is or what it means, but there is an unidentified mass of something very close to us. NASA says there is nothing to worry about. These kinds of things happen all the time. But an illusionist and alleged psychic named Uri Geller says there actually is something to worry about. He says the source of energy is coming from an alien civilization. Uri claims the aliens are preparing for a mass landing on our planet and a full-scale invasion. It's a little far out. Uri is a 75-year-old man who can apparently bend spoons with his mind. He's also been quoted telling news reporters that aliens are definitely going to invade our planet within 60 to 75 years. Some say he's a crackpot, and some believe every word he says. The truth is that NASA did find something bizarre. Whatever it is was detected sending out bursts of energy 3 times per hour. It was discovered by a team of scientists as they were mapping radio waves in space. Astrophysicist Dr. Natasha Hurley from Curtin University says the mysterious source of the energy appears and disappears periodically. It's something that scientists had never seen before, but it could be easily explained. Natasha says it's probably a very slowly spinning neutron star called an ultra-long period magnetar, so nothing to worry about. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Number 5. Real-life Borgs. Completely by accident, scientists have discovered a DNA structure they are calling a real-life Borg, like from Star Trek. The discovery was made deep in the mud of California's wetlands. The DNA structure is believed to belong to a single-celled organism carrying a plethora of genes currently unknown to scientists. Researchers don't know what these strange strings of DNA do, but they believe the strings may help the organism to break down chemicals found in soil. Geomicrobiologist Gillian Banfield says she hasn't been this excited about a discovery since the gene editing tool CRISPR. She and her team basically discovered a foreign entity that is not living or dead, one that assimilates genes. It was found in organisms called archaea. At least 80% of the genes inside the DNA structure of the Borg are unknown, meaning scientists don't know how they function or what their purpose is. The only thing they do know is that some of their genes are used to augment the capabilities of their host. The Borg is able to boost the metabolism of the single-celled organism to give it the ability to metabolize methane. Right now, nobody knows what any of this actually means. We are moving into uncharted scientific territory. But Gillian Banfield says if these Borgs really can act as boosters for methane metabolism, they could be used in the future to capture greenhouse gas and reduce the damage of climate change. Number 4. Underwater guns in Florida. Fishermen in Florida got a whole lot more than they bargained for recently. Over the course of just 1 week, a man and his grandson discovered a pair of sniper rifles in a canal, while another fisherman hooked a human body in a lake. Dwayne Smith saw a video on YouTube about magnet fishing. He wanted to give it a try with his 11-year-old grandson. They dropped the magnet into a small canal in southern Miami-Dade County and ended up with over 2 pounds of scrap metal and 40 pounds of weaponry. The guns were the same, 2 .50 caliber Barrett sniper rifles. They weren't loaded, and the fellas didn't find any ammunition, but the guns still looked in pretty good shape. Instead of throwing them back in the canal and avoiding the whole situation, Smith alerted the authorities. He was concerned because he noticed the serial numbers had been filed off, and since Smith is a former Army infantry officer, he knows a thing or two about weapons. Our second fisherman was near downtown Auburndale when he threw his hook into the lake and snagged something heavy. It took a minute to reel the mysterious mass out of the water because it was a waterlogged human body. He couldn't believe he literally fished a body out of the lake. When police arrived, they discovered the deceased man was in his 40s, a local resident of the area. He'd been missing for a few days and had probably fallen into the lake by accident. Number 3. A pig shark. A group of Italian sailors discovered something not even someone with an extraordinary imagination could put together. They found a fish that appeared to be a disturbing mixture of a pig and a shark. It had the body of a shark with a pointy fin sticking out of its back and classic sharp flippers. But when they looked at its face, it had the flat nose of a pig. The unusual freak of nature was found floating along the surface of the water by crewmen of a naval vessel anchored in the town of Portoferraio. They were so disturbed by their unusual animal that they had experts come in to identify it properly. As it turned out, it wasn't a mutant after all. The fish is a real creature known as the pig-faced shark. Its proper name is angular rough shark, but pig-faced shark is way more fitting. These interesting animals live just shy of 3,000 feet beneath the surface. They are also listed as endangered by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. That probably explains why the locals had never seen one before. Number 2. The abandoned Snowdonia mine. In northern Wales, Snowdonia is a vast region of towering mountains, dark forests, and abandoned mines. It looks like a place dwarves would live in Middle-earth, the mythical realm of the Lord of the Rings. One of these abandoned mines recently caught the attention of mining enthusiast/urban explorer Milda. She decided to crawl through the dark and foreboding shafts in search of interesting history. The mine had been abandoned already for a century, and most people aren't brave enough to go poking around in its ruined halls. But Milda proved to be braver than most. While exploring the insides of the mine, she found a perfectly preserved children's book. Milda found the book leaning on a ledge deep in the belly of the mine, still open, as if someone had put it down, meaning to come back and finish the story later. The book appears to be part of Enid Blyton's The Famous Five series. Here's where things can get spooky. This book series wasn't published until 1942. The mine, on the other hand, was closed late in the 19th century. There was a gap of around 50 years between the mine shutting its doors and the book being published. That means that somebody up to 80 years ago went deep into a dark and cold mine shaft to read a children's book. Then they left it there, unfinished. What do you think was going on here? Let me know in the comments. Number 1. The Lost City of Egypt. Archaeologists have identified a lost Egyptian city that spent the last 3,000 years beneath the desert sands. It's been hailed as one of the greatest archaeological finds in Egyptology in the last few decades. The city was first uncovered in 2020, with attempts to excavate being thwarted due to the COVID pandemic. But in 2022, things are back in full swing, and archaeologists are pulling out all kinds of treasures. The settlement is known as Aten, and it was literally buried under the sand. Experts have been busy clearing away the dust to get to the abandoned structures beneath. They have now found the foundations of buildings, hundreds and thousands of artifacts, and all of these discoveries can be linked to the great pharaoh Amenhotep III. It was this pharaoh who built the city, but it was his grandson Tutankhamun who would go on to rule it. The city is filled with workshops. There are industrial zones, residential neighborhoods, and plenty of objects left behind from daily life. It's really given archaeologists a glimpse into the mundane past of ancient Egyptians. They found bakeries, kitchens, rooms filled with everyday tools, and pieces of jewelry. But what's unusual is that there haven't been any major temples or things of that nature yet discovered. This place is all about urban life. It shows a period in Egypt's history in which ordinary people were thriving. They began to develop sanitation, healthcare, education, and it can all be seen here in the ruins of the city of Aten. Thanks for watching! What was your favorite weird recent discovery that I told you about today? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye!